Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ambition, a Minuet in Power. So, uh, man, we are not doing too well overall, considering our credibility and peril. This thing has just been slowly creeping up, and yeah, I'm not too happy about that. However, we do have all preparations for Marcel's birthday party masquerade all set, so we are definitely going to be getting a a scene, a definitely a wonderful chance at being able to get back at the absolute B of a person, getting like having just man, she just like destroyed our reputation and made our lives a complete misery from the moment we got here. And with that said, I think what we need to do is we need to continue on with this here. This is the storyline for Armand, I suppose. It is current objective, so I think we need to do that. Minions in Misdirection. This is for somebody else. I don't really know that I care. I do feel like moving on with the story is very important. Let me actually see what our gossip looks like. We have one cheap gossip. It is 1 day old, so this doesn't seem like it's worth making a trip out that way just yet. At least until we can get some more we can sell. But right at this moment, we don't have anything specific, so let us go to this. Oh, we have a chance to reduce our peril, and we have a chance to either lose money or make money. Stranger and Stranger. You spend the day at home investigating the mysterious notice and key that you recovered from the abandoned studio. Hopefully the risks you took to break in there were worth it. Alright, so I wonder if we can reduce our exhaustion in the process, but most likely not. At home, it takes all day for you to finally work up the nerve and do this. Just as the sun sets, you finally pull the note and key out from under your stays. The paper is covered in unfamiliar handwriting, written in rich emerald ink. Cher Armand, I will always appreciate your commitment to our cause, and I know France will be better for it. However, our chance of being caught grows with every passing day. I will not waste ink painting terrible pictures of the consequences as you are already familiar with them. If fortune turns against us, then I want you to flee Paris entirely and head to the border. If you show them my ring, then my society's sponsors will protect you. I know you've objected to this idea before, but it's the only way for you to stay safe. To aid in this, I've secreted a package under the loose floorboards underneath your stove. This key will open it. Ooh. Your partner in conspiracy, Johanna. Wait, we've met Johanna before, haven't we? Her name sounds familiar. We met her somewhere before at one of the parties, I think. But I can't remember. Oh man, I can't remember what happened with that. Or what the consequences, what the conclusions were of having met them. I wish I could remember. I bet if I go back, because I still haven't edited any of the videos. I'm bulk recording right now as much as possible. But yeah, if I had done some editing, I'm sure I would have remembered by this point. You turn over the letter and find no additional writing, no additional context or explanation. Who is Johanna? How long has Armand known her for? Is she one of the people he'd been writing back home? Heading downstairs, you walk into the kitchen. It's clean but cramped, and Camille keeps it well stocked with fresh produce. You open the stove, made of dark iron and standing on a set of clawed feet. Alone, on your hands and knees, you feel around until you find a set of loose floorboards. You pull up the floorboards and fish around in the dark until you find a small wooden box held shut by a padlock. You open it with the key you found behind the painting. Okay, I've got a question here. how did this Johanna find the opportunity and time to find or create loose floorboards under the stove unless she had been staying here with Armand or hired somebody? I mean, there is a possibility that she hired somebody, but then that person would have had to take time in order to open up or create these floorboards, put this like package there. But more likely is that this Johanna had the opportunity to find or create this hiding place, this hideaway, and I think maybe they were having a relationship with, on the side, because Armand had proposed to Yvette, which is why she was here in the first place. Inside the box, you find a magnetic compass, a map of Paris with notes concerning when the guards change at every one of the city gates, a signet ring, and a leather bag heavy with coins. The notes on the map will make it much easier to traverse the city without being noticed by the Guet Royal or by anyone else. You have lost quite a bit of peril. Oh my goodness, that's so much we lost. Like 20. That's so good. So good. You look inside the bag. That's a lot of coins. You've gained 100 livres. You look up from your sudden windfall to see Camille standing in the doorway to the kitchen. Her eyes are darting between you and the box in confusion. I was just about to start making dinner, Camille says, pointing awkwardly at the stove. Okay, so we can say, Camille, did you know about this? Or we could say, I just found a good sum of money and a note on the floorboards, care to explain? I think we'll just ask her if she knows, because it's difficult to not think that she didn't know that any of this was happening. I mean, Armand was her employer. Doesn't seem to be now. I don't know if he's in hiding or if he's been captured or arrested or what, but I don't know that we should assume that she had a hand in this. So let's just ask her, I suppose, and just be outright.
Huh.
No, about what? Camille asked, glancing between you and the bag of coins in your hand. Was that Monsieur Armand's? Why would he leave money in the house? For the first time since you've met her, you feel like Camille might not be telling the truth. Madame, what's going on? We can lose money and say we both got lucky, that's what happened. The credibility challenge is an easy one, but that doesn't mean anything, honestly. Or we could just straight up ask her who Johanna was, and how did she know Armand? Camille, why did Armand actually leave this house? Honestly, I think I know why he left the house. He's going into hiding. So maybe we should just ask who this Johanna was, and how did she know Armand? I mean, we kind of know how she knows Armand, but not the root of why, because they know each other because, or maybe they knew each other before all this, like, what seems to be like dissension planning. I don't know. I don't know what to call it, because they're both loyal to the crown, but at the same time, they're unwilling to continue with the status quo of the nobility and stuff. I never asked anyone's names, madame, Camille admits, looking downcast. So many of Monsieur Armand's guests valued that privacy that I wanted to give them a polite amount of space. However, Camille straightens up, tapping her finger on her chin, there was a woman who came by more frequently than the other guests. She had brown hair and a scar on her chin. I think I remember her because she always wore a necklace with the prettiest emerald in the center of it. You look down at the green ink used to write the note to Armand. Is there a connection? That's all I can remember, madame. Now, if I may ask, can I have the kitchen to myself? I'd like to start making you dinner. Before you can ask any further questions, Camille ushers you out into the hallway. The door shuts quickly behind you, and all you can hear is the clattering of pots and pans as she starts furiously preparing food. So, she does know something, But whether she gave up the ghost, I don't think so. And I don't know if she does know whether or not, um, like, why Armand had left. We can all speculate. I don't think, honestly, that I would have passed that credibility check, but here we are. You look over the signet ring that was included in the box. It's a finely made silver ring with a signet used for pressing seals and wax. You don't recognize the symbol on the ring, but the piece of jewelry itself looks very old. You're starting to wonder if this investigation will ever start answering more questions than it asks. April 15th. Oh, we still have to respond to this. I think we're going to go to this party, so we'll accept. But now, what do we do? Do we follow the note? That seems like... Oh, there's nothing here for the note. Okay. So what do we do? What do we do? This looks new. La Grande Taverne de Londres. Luxurious restaurant. This rendezvous location caters to some of the wealthiest and most powerful clientele in all of Paris. It also serves some of the finest food in the city. Try the lamb. I don't know how much these additional things go for, because there was no reward. Is the reward, like, meeting people? Is that what the issue is? I think maybe we help Fatima out here. There's this chance conversation with somebody mysterious. This one's the bodyguard. And this one... hirelings of one of your earliest enemies. But what are they up to? I think I want to help out Fatima instead. So let's go do this one, I think. So let me read it for you. Working up the nerve, you happen to find the dressmaker Fatima Shenna outside of a fashionable cafe. However, she doesn't look that happy to be there. In fact, she looks quite distressed. So let's go take a look. Walking through some newly familiar streets, you notice that a new cafe has opened. The smell of coffee hangs in the air, and a small crowd of citizens mill about outside to see what's going on. It's then that you recognize one of the people in the crowd. Fatima is pacing pensively back and forth outside the cafe, puffing so heavily on her pipe that it resembles a chimney. You decide to approach her. By the time she finally notices you, you're practically standing right next to her. She gasps and hops back from you with a start. I'm so sorry, Yvette. I must have been lost in my thoughts. So we can tell her, Fatima, it's fine. Just breathe. Or we could say, this isn't the safest place to be distracted. Paris has more than a few villains in it. Or we can ask her, what is it that has you so worried? Let's go with that. I mean, she obviously is incredibly worried or concerned, and maybe she's looking for an outlet for that. So let's give her that. It's just that my parents are waiting for me in the cafe, she says, pointing to the newly opened business with the stem of her pipe. We're just supposed to be meeting for tea, and I'm at my wit's end. They've always supported me, but there's this pressure to succeed that's just overwhelming sometimes. I'm their only child, and I know that they gave me everything that I could, and there are times that I feel like I was a poor investment. I know a lot of children feel this way, and especially for, like, immigrant parents, I think, and children of immigrant parents, they feel like they need to be a success. But maybe you should have a discussion with your parents to see if that's what they expected of you, or if they just wanted you to be happy. You never know if you talk to your parents and all they wanted for you was to be happy, and they wanted you to be successful only so that you could continue to be happy. Because I feel like for immigrant parents, money and success are very important because they literally had nothing usually when they immigrate. So, I mean, it's best just to open a dialogue to see where everyone is. Why worry about something if it didn't need to be a concern, right? She forces a smile by continuing. To be honest, my business at Le Petit Mogul has been struggling for months. In fact, your loyal patronage is one of the only reasons that I'm still in business. I know my parents, and the first thing they're going to ask me is how the store is going, and... When am I telling a customer this? This is what my life has come to. I'm dreading that someone is going to ask how I'm doing. I'm either going to lie to them or I'm going to tell the truth and bear their disappointment. I don't even know which choice is worse. Yvette, you seem to have your life under control. What should I be doing? So we can undergo a credibility challenge and say lying gets you nothing and it makes you feel awful, so just tell the truth. We could increase peril and say if there's one thing I learned in my life, it's that you should never stop lying. Or you can say, not to be rude, but I would have killed for my parents to care about my interests at all. I'm going to go with the first one. Lying gets you nothing and makes you feel awful, so just tell the truth. That's kind of my personal viewpoint. Also, I think I've said it a few times already, but lying is a whirlpool that continues the lie in getting deeper and deeper. So I always just try to avoid lying as much as possible.
Huh.
Fatima says, are you sure about that? I hate how much sense you're making right now. If I'm not honest with them, then I'll end up having to build new lies upon old lies, and that's just inviting the devil into your home. It can only bring problems. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You've gained some credibility. Yes, thank you, Fatima. Well, here goes nothing, she sighs, steeling herself for what's to come. If all else fails, at least I'll get some good tea and pastries out of the bargain. She leaves to go inside, and you are left to consider your own life. Has the unvarnished truth always been the best choice for you? Perhaps it's just better for other people. As you don't want to make things awkward by lingering outside the very cafe where Fatima is meeting her parents, you decide to bring your day to an early close and head home. It wasn't the thrilling way to spend your day, but it certainly wasn't awful either. Alright, next day, April 16th. Alright, now we're at Thursday. Let's see what else is out here, shall we? So we helped Fatima out there. Maybe we should either help out Pierre or help out... I think this one's Camille. Maybe let's help out this one, the maid and the archer. Walking near the market, you come across your own maid of all works, who seems to be in a bit of trouble. Let's do this one, I think. You spend the day walking through the city, exploring the neighborhood near market. The air is pungent, a rush of scents from crisp vegetables to fresh fruit to less than fresh fish. Now that's a scent. Your ears suddenly perk up with the sound of a familiar voice, and you start slipping through the crowd in its direction. You stumble upon Camille, her arms full with a basket full of the day's groceries. However, she's been stopped by a watchman of the Gate Royale, one of the infamous archers. He's berating Camille in the middle of the street. Where'd you get those? He demands, gesturing to all of her groceries. Quoi? But monsieur, you saw me buy these. I got them over there, she says, pointing in the direction of a market stall. I saw no such thing, he says, blistering at the suggestion that he could have been paying attention to his surroundings. Where's your receipt? Camille's eyes dart from side to side, and she turns her feet away from him. Something about this line of questioning is making her very uncomfortable. I never get receipts, monsieur. What? That's ridiculous. Why not? Well, I can't. Camille starts and stops, looking ashamedly on the ground. You're going to have to give me a very good reason not to haul you away, he growls, and one of his hands extends out low with his palms up. Ah, so that's what this is about. So he's looking for a bribe is what he's looking for. So either we can bribe him and say, Monsieur, I'm so glad you found her. Please accept this payment for my thanks. Or we could increase our peril. Excuse me, monsieur, don't you have better things to do than harass my servant? Or we could do a credibility challenge and tell him that, Monsieur, a man has stolen my purse. It's an easy challenge, but what does easy even mean in this game? You know, we could lose some credibility if we fail this check. But as a guard, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to fail this challenge. I kind of don't want to bribe him. But if he's looking for a bribe, is he gonna respond to, like, the claims that a person has stolen a purse? But it is out in the day among other people. And he really didn't look at her, like, buying the groceries. So maybe we should try it. I think we'll probably lose credibility, but I don't know, guys. Alright, we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. The watchman stares at you, absolutely startled as you suddenly interpose between him and Camille. What? You've been robbed? Which way did he go? We don't allow criminals here. Not on my watch. Camille's like looking. That's so funny. She's like, I don't know. She was so downtrodden, and now she's like animated. Suppressing the powerful reflex to comment on the irony of that statement, you point him in a random direction. To sell the illusion, you provide a believable yet suitably vague description of your imaginary assailant. Musket at the ready, the watchman runs off into the crowd, yelling after an imaginary cut purse. The moment you lose sight of him, the two of you start hurrying away. Wow, madame, that was amazing, she gushes. Normally I remember to bribe the authorities, but something came over me and I completely forgot. You've gained a little credibility. Yes! Sorely needed, my guys. Sorely needed. You spend the rest of the day escorting Camille about on her daily errands. It takes a few moments for her to completely feel comfortable again, but it comes eventually. Alright, so that we helped her out with that one, which is good. Alright, now what have we got here? We've got some more days to spend around in Paris. We've got this rumor mongers. Okay, rumor mongers. It appears that you're not alone. Okay, so we can get cheap gossip. Possible loss of credibility. Chance at shocking gossip, though. I don't know. I guess there's not a lot left to do. We can meet these other people, I suppose. But I suppose we can give this a try. With the rumor mongers, we'll visit this location. It's the only, like, incident happening. During one of your explorations of the city, you find yourself in a fountain square. Groups of people are clustered together, locked in the kind of deep yet carefree conversations that make you wonder what, exactly, these people do all day. You wonder to yourself if any of these idle malingers have jobs until you remember that you too share a similar ill-earned but decadent lifestyle. Still, you have mountains of extenuating circumstances that brought you to this point. What are their excuses? Have they no shame? You break from your increasingly venomous internal accusations when you hear a familiar name mentioned by somebody nearby. I take it you used to work for Pierre Renaudot as well. Yes, I used to sell gossip to that self-important drunk. After all, he used to be the only game in town. Frankly, I'm glad to be free of that slimy weasel. You would, of course, rush to Pierre's defense if all those vile accusations weren't so true. Now I saw what I find to be a far more reputable clientele. Oh, anything juicy lately? The younger man leans in. I myself heard the most fascinating things about a certain general in the military. The older man puts out his hand for the other one to stop. What are you doing? Why exactly would I share anything I've learned with you? We're competitors in this business. His new compatriot chuckles. Are we? All we have to do is share our gossip between ourselves, then sell it all to different newspapers on the same day. We can make twice the money. Well, I suppose that does make sense. I did learn something shocking about a prominent lawyer today. They lean in and start whispering to each other. Their voices are too low for you to hear from here. Okay, so easy credibility challenge for both of them. Or we can get closer and listen to both of them. So we can either approach the older one later to learn some bourgeoisie gossip, or we can approach the younger one to learn some military gossip. I don't know which is better. But perhaps the younger one may be more inclined to share. After all, he did try to influence the older one to share his gossip in the first place. But I don't know if that means that the older one is less experienced and was easily swayed. It's tough to tell. But I feel like he was willing to share. The younger one was willing to share, so maybe he'd be willing to share with us. So let's approach the younger one for the military gossip. Once he finishes up and separates from his companion, you approach the young rumor monger and offer him a similar exchange to the one he performed with his older compatriot.
Ooh.
In exchange, he seems very amiable too. The two of you compare notes and you walk away with some interesting gossip about the military. He walks away with a complete fabrication. Well, it is rumor, so rumor doesn't have to be true. It just has to be salacious. You have acquired some cheap military gossip. Barely concealing a contemptuous smile, you slink home to jot down some valuable notes. A successful day, all in all. All right, April 18th. What have we got? Another free day. Very nice. Okay. We got some more incidents here. Study in chemistry. An unusual man of science has a proposition for you, and it has something to do with rumors in the city. Chance of shocking crown or revolution gossip. Minions and misdirection. This one is the hireling of an enemy. Maybe we'll do this one with the hireling of for the enemy. So let me check. Outrageous gossip for this one, and then shocking gossip for this one. All right, so I think we're gonna do the minions and misdirection. You come across the hirelings of one of your earliest enemies, but what are they up to? Let's go for this one. Okay. Your exploration of the city extends later into the day, and you find yourself wandering relatively empty streets. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot a disreputable-looking man step out of an alleyway, glance about, and walk away at a faster than normal speed. This normally wouldn't be a cause for concern if you've seen plenty of the city's criminal class on your walks. However, right before he passes you, you see him tuck a letter into his coat. A letter written on fine paper sealed by the same colored wax used by Viscountess Marcel de Foix. Against your better judgment, you start following this suspicious man. You manage to stealthily shadow this man's twisting route for nearly half an hour when he suddenly whirls about to turn on you. The dwindling sunlight glints off of a weapon in his hand. "Who the devil are you?" he spits. And this medium credibility challenge, your employer sent me to oversee this little job of yours. Or we can add medium peril. I'm the only person who can stop you from getting caught, you incompetent fool. Or me, I'm nobody in particular, just walking the streets as you. Oh man. It's a medium challenge, and we are halfway. 51 credibility. But man, when we had that with Anne, man, she just knocked us down completely. Terrible. But I don't know if we're going to be able to pass this one. But we do know the employer, so maybe that'll be enough to convince him. I'm going to try it. So far, I've been taking the whole, talking route. And, I mean, it's been successful at times and not successful at others. And again, I have no idea how any of this is tabulated because it seems like it's random. And I really honestly don't understand the system of how it's going here. My employer sent you to follow me? Ugh, it's utterly typical. They were overbearing to begin with, and now they're jumping at every shadow. Of course they'd send some women to supervise me. So what do you want with me then? So this easy credibility challenge, give me the letter. I'm the second stage for the delivery. We can increase our peril. I want to do your part and give me the letter before I let the Viscountess hear of this. Or actually, never mind, I should be going. The easy credibility challenge I think we should go for. We've already got this far. We may as well push it, even if it means that this will probably push it over the edge. But hey, we're already here. The second stage? Nobody told me this delivery was going to have so many moving parts. He sighs angrily. This operation is growing more slipshod by the day. I swear, after that business with the Baron de Marbeau, everything has gone awry. Some days, it feels like I'm the last man left with any common sense. So, there was some business with Armand. What has gone on with the business with Armand? And apparently, it involves Marcel to some degree. With that, he pulls the letter from his coat and hands it to you. Then, without another word, he storms away. He seems to be muttering something about incompetence under his breath. With the letter in hand, you press your back against the wall and make sure that you're alone while you learn something about your erstwhile nemesis. With a quick slice from a small knife you keep in your bag, you delve into the letter to see what perfidy Marcel is up to. I wonder what perfidy is. In this letter, you manage to find some damaging gossip. Extremely damaging, in fact. You've gained a piece of outrageous crown gossip. Carefully rereading this letter again, you also manage to gain some knowledge about their future plots. It should also be a little easier to sidestep their machinations now. You have lost a little peril. Oh my goodness, so good! So good! Tucking the letter into your stays, you quickly head home from anyone before anyone has a chance to ask questions about your curious behavior. Night has fallen by the time you make it back to your house. This was a fruitful day indeed. April 19th. Very good, sir. Very good. You look up at the sound of Camille knocking on your doorframe. Good morning, madame. Time to... Yep. House's rent is due today, as are my wages. Let's pay our rent and our servant. Merci beaucoup, madame, Camille says with a curtsy as you hand her the money. You have paid 40 livres. Camille leaves to deliver the money, and with that business concluded, your day may continue. Okay. So we got 2 days before the coffee tasting, one of which I'm going to rest. So let us see what we have available for today. So we have music to your ears, which can sway credibility. And we have a study in chemistry, which also can sway credibility, but also has shocking gossip. Let us go with this one, I suppose. The sway in credibility is a lot lower for the negative, but I think the same positive. So let's go to the more likely to be either neutral or positive. Let's go to this location. Alright, you decide to take a walk around the city, hoping to stumble across something new that might help you. Just as you cross the street to avoid an incoming wagon, you're approached by a colorfully dressed young man. He studies you carefully for a moment before speaking. Excusez-moi, madame, but you're Yvette Ducot, non? And we can either say, why in fact I am. Or, Monsieur, I think you have me confused for someone else. And I'm not certain if I should say, who are you? He seems nice enough, or like deviously inconspicuous enough. I don't know. Michael. He seems fairly young. I don't know if we need to be particularly suspicious around him. You never know. You can't tell people by their looks. You can only judge by their actions, but I don't know. Maybe we'll just go ahead and tell him that that's who we are. He knew our name, and he knew what we look like enough to ask if we are who we are. So let's go ahead and just continue based upon that information. Ah, it's a pleasure to meet you at last. You've gained a little credibility. Very nice, very nice. I am Michael Pelletier, he says while performing a simple bow. I am a chemist in training and general bon vivant. I have been told that you're an unofficial reporter from Le Trompette du Peuple. In the name of a little experiment that I am performing, I might have a lead for you. In fact, I might have two. Which would you prefer to know more about, the crown or the revolution? Let's see, what kind of... I guess, what kind are we looking for? Should we ask him what his game is? So we can say, if I'd have a choice, then tell me about the crown, or I'd prefer to learn more about the revolution, or an experiment. What exactly are you doing here? What's your game? I think I want to know that. Kind of want to, like, ask him what this is all about.
Huh.
His smile is enigmatic. That, madame, is for me alone to know. If I were to tell you what I aim to learn, that would undermine the experiment, wouldn't it? Aw, man, we lost the credibility. So what shall it be? Alright, fine. Let's learn about the... Let's learn about the crown, shall we? Ah, a wise choice. He steps in closer and starts to tell you about some of the more interesting goings-on amongst the aristocrats close to the crown. At first, you were skeptical of the quality of the story he could provide, but you find yourself surprised. This could actually be quite valuable. Gained a piece of shocking crown gossip. With that, it seems that our business is concluded, Michael says, stepping back from you. Before you can say another word, he leaves as suddenly as he arrived. Your brow furrows as you consider the situation. You have some valuable gossip, but why? What could he possibly stand to gain from giving this to you? Why only one of them? With a sigh, you brush aside those swirling concerns. You have something good for Pierre. That's what matters right now. Your mind made up, you continue to go about your day exploring the city. Alright. April 20th, the day before the next event that's going on here. And we don't have any pressing incidents that are going on, so let's go home and rest for the next day. You decide to take the day off and spend some time at home resting and recuperating. After spending the day in, taking care of yourself and doing some light reading, you finally feel recharged. The exhaustion that had been affecting you the day before has passed. You no longer have any levels of exhaustion. With that complete, you turn your focus upon other matters that demand your attention. Alright, April 21st, the day of the party. So this is a party for the revolution, so let's get ready for the party. This is not good for the revolution. This is neutral. This one is a positive of 9, negative of 6, and 0. So let's go with the positive. We will hopefully increase our credibility here. So let's go to the party. As your carriage nears the party, you consider taking one last moment to assess your preparations. You pause to consider how well rested you feel. You're neither well rested or exhausted. Nothing is holding you back from doing your best in this game of wits. You check a tiny mirror you keep in the carriage to see that you're wearing your robe a la Francais to a party being held by the Revolution. The guests approve of your outfit and increase by 9, which was the amount that that dress was going to be for, and your credibility has increased. With preparations like this, tonight should be a largely positive affair. They're gasping every time we step down. You step down out of your carriage and hear the ripple of whispers that signal your arrival to any social event these days. There's a small line in the vestibule as guests are waiting to get in. While you're standing in this line, you manage to overhear an interesting rumor. You make a mental note of it just in case. Gained a piece of cheap revolution gossip. Servant checks your invitation and everything seems to be in order. Let's go ahead and offer some wine. She gratefully takes the gift from you and sets it aside. As you enter the party, you can hear the whispers of other guests noting your generosity. Spent 10 livres, but gained a tiny amount of credibility, and lost a tiny amount of peril. Very good. Now let's let the games begin. Alright. Let's see what we have here. We've got, okay, the stealing, brief skulk. We've got the lives of commoners. A pair of guests harboring valuable rumors are afraid to speak them aloud for fear of being implicated in the process. Do you need anything more than that? So we have chance for revolution gossip, as well as bourgeoisie gossip, but we have a chance to reduce favor for Antoine, who I have no idea, but also a chance to reduce favor for Honoré, which I don't want to do. There's this one, a small wager, illegal gambling. Revolutionary zeal. Some supporters of the revolution are always jumping at shadows and feverishly searching for spies in their midst, but besting such an individual might have its benefits. So, chance to sway credibility, chance at gossip, and a chance to increase peril. So, this one may involve a medium or even high credibility check, so I don't know that I want that one. This cheap gossip. Oh, there's a lot of cheap gossip with this one. Oh wait, this one's the stealing one. That's right. I think I'm gonna go with this last one, the revolutionary zeal. There's not much. Oh, man, I don't know what I should do here. I guess let's go for it, the revolutionary zeal, and we'll try to best the wits of this this woman. So we'll pick this conversation. Okay. Strolling about this revolutionary party, you notice a group increasing in excitement, slowly gaining in energy as they enter a full-on state of argument and debate. Recognizing that such a state is exactly when you hear the best gossip, you start approaching them. However, as you're approaching, someone peels off from the exact group and greets you. She's smiling, but it doesn't feel friendly. Ah, what a lovely party. Such a wonderful gathering of revolutionary minds. The only thing that really spoils the occasion is that you can truly never be too careful. After all, while the king and queen don't have an official reason to arrest any of us, I'm sure that they'd provide a handsome reward to anyone able to find such a reason. Which is, of course, why we all have to be careful, wouldn't you agree? Really, any new stranger could be a potential threat, she muses, looking you up and down. And we can try to pass this easy credibility challenge. Madame, I understand that you're trying to be vigilant, but is this really necessary? Or we can increase our peril. I'll say this once. Don't accuse me of anything if you don't have proof. I hate liars. I don't think that's going to be good. But this easy credibility check, I don't know, guys. It could go either way with this credibility check. But out of the two, I guess I'll try it, because either way, we're going to increase peril if I either choose the peril or if I fail the credibility check. But with the failed credibility check, I also lose credibility. But on the flip side, if I pass the check, I could gain credibility, right? And again, either way, I'm going to gain peril. So let's try it. Is it necessary? She asks. It's not, she replies, sighing and looking more than a bit embarrassed. I'm sorry, I judged you unfairly. You've gained a little credibility. Yes! Oh, pardon me, she calls out over her shoulder to the group as she steps aside and makes room for you in the circle. I'd like you to meet someone. The debating group of guests doesn't stay together for much longer, but you do manage to acquire some interesting tidbits from the conversation that you hear there. You've gained a piece of cheap revolution gossip. Just as you manage to finish memorizing what you just heard, the group starts to break off into tiny little clusters. Each cluster scatters to a different corner of the party to investigate new diversions and entertainments. Even the woman who was so suspicious of you earlier has already disappeared. Alright, well, we passed that, which is good. Our credibility is rising, which is also good. The American problem. A pair of men are discussing a diplomat from the Americas. As their conversation runs in circles, an opportunity presents itself. So that's more cheap revolution gossip. No chance of increasing our credibility, but definite chance of almost definite chance of increasing our peril. Deep concern. Speaking with a revolutionary woman, you feel like you should be able to obtain some valuable gossip. However, first you'll have to contend with an interloper whose faux concern seems hellbent on stymieing conversation at every turn. Lots of chance at revolution gossip, and a very good chance of decreasing our credibility, and very good chance of increasing our peril. I don't like any of that. a brief skulk, so this one's the stealing again. I think maybe it's finally time to do this one with Armand. Distant days, you recall a far-off memory. It's of the time when you and Armand first met. I think maybe it's just time. The other ones, I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're going to advance the story, but maybe this one does. Because there is no rewards. So maybe the reward itself is advancing the story. So let's go try it. You'll wander around the party for a while, trying to find a conversation that feels right, but only end up feeling lost. Rather than wasting time on something that isn't working, you decide to get some fresh air in the garden. It's been difficult to focus all night, and you're not certain as to why. Thankfully, you find the gardens to be deserted, so you can just focus on yourself. While you're adjusting your stays so that they sit more comfortably, you consider your poor luck. It's not you, it's just that nobody has anything exciting to say right now. If nothing else, this feeling is certainly familiar. Of course, when you last felt like this, the parties were much smaller. They were also much less elegant, and they felt even less exciting than the one you're attending right now. In fact, you were at just such a party, bored to the verge of tears and making conversation with yourself when you heard someone walking up behind you. This is Armand. He certainly doesn't look like a rich guy, and he is in a very relaxed dress, or state of dress, rather. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize this spot was taken. I was planning on fuming alone in the garden, but an occupier has already laid their claim. So we can either say, correct, now be gone, as this garden is mine by right of conquest, or don't waste your time dissembling, just join me already, or what's troubling you so much, aren't parties supposed to be fun? Alright, so, this first one, telling him to be gone, sounds antagonistic. This, just join me already, I don't know, it seems very frustrated or annoyed. We could be nice. I mean, this is supposed to be a flashback, right? So they were in what appeared to be a good relationship, so maybe we should just ask him to be nice, because we know that they later become engaged. His back stiffens ever so slightly at this question. Well, I don't want to be the source of turmoil, as it would reflect poorly on my family. It's just agonizingly boring. Everyone wants to talk about the same things over and over again. Marie is suspicious of the new priest. Jacques wants to complain about the drainage in his lower field, and Guillaume will find any excuse to boast about his new cows. For the love of God, they're just cows. I'm sure they chew cud like virtuosos, but after 4 months, I'm about to push the damn things into the lake. No matter what I say, it's always the same. Everyone just nods, agrees, then changes the conversation to whatever suits them better. I might as well not even be there. He stops and examines you quietly as you fume in the garden. It's a familiar feeling for you too, isn't it? You've gained some favor with this handsome stranger. Everything here just feels like it's going around in a circle, like a water wheel. The waters of the river rush onwards to new things, but the wheel merely spins. Oh, my apologies, I never introduced myself. My name is Armand. Armand never mentioned his last name to you, or even that he was a baron until the third time you met. He pretended that it was just because he thought it was unimportant, but you knew better. He was sick of the deference and groveling that came with his position. May I ask your name? We can just tell him outright, I think. Or we can say, don't worry about my name, or who invited you here anyways. I mean, he seems nice enough, and he already opened up to us about himself, so I don't see any harm telling him our name.
Oh-ho!
It's a pleasure to meet you, Yvette. He takes your hand and gently kisses the back of it. Normally, such an overly familiar gesture would disgust you, but he does it with a light, practiced grace, like it was the most normal thing in the world. The two of you stare into each other's eyes, and as your gaze plays along his moonlight features, you wonder how you've both managed to go so long without meeting. Now, you've heard my woes. What troubles you tonight? So, our 3 options. What doesn't trouble me? This whole place is going nowhere, and it's infuriating. If it's alright, I'd rather talk about something pleasant, or pardonnez-moi, but I would prefer to be alone for the moment. I think the first option is the obvious option, because he shared, so I guess the natural inclination is to share with him back. Before you realize it, you find yourself unrolling a list of every enmity you have in the town, punctuated by every one of their mental failings. It's a long list, and he seems quite happy with himself right now. I thought myself enraged, but it seems I was a mere pretender to the throne. He laughs as a cold wind causes you to shiver. You've gained some favor with Armand. Unfortunately, I must go, or my presence will be missed. However, before I go, please take this. It's frightfully cold out here, he says, taking his office coat and handing it to you. His breath steams in the air, and the coat is still warm with his body heat. Should you feel the need to return it, I like to spend my Sundays reading at Le Cygne, he says, gesturing in the direction of the tavern. With that, Armand leaves. The breeze blows and you feel a brief shiver, so you wrap his coat about your shoulders. The collar smells like him, mixed with a trace of perfume. Like all memories, it begins to dissolve once the most important elements pass. And I guess we can choose how we feel about it. We can say, such a pleasant memory from simpler times. Or, ugh, I was foolish to fall for such empty advances. And we could also say, of all things to remember, why does this strike me now? Perhaps this last one is where I would feel. Because the memory has to be a good one because she came to Paris to be with him and she was in love with him. But now that he's kind of abandoned us, why are we remembering this? Like, what is the importance? I think this is why, or what Yvette would be thinking. While you manage to return your thoughts to the here and now, you cannot manage to completely discard the memory. You find yourself examining its various details long after, as you distantly puzzle upon its significance. With that, you return to the party, which has ended. So, we have some cheap revolutionary gossip, 2 of it. We've gained credibility, lost 10 livres, and also lost 3 peril. Alright, guys. Now it is April 22nd. And at this point, I feel like we are in a much, much better situation than we were before. I would say absolutely so. Much higher credibility, much lower peril, and it seems like we're advancing the story, and we're days away from getting our vengeance, our absolute vengeance. Guys, that is going to be the next thing in the next video. I hope that you guys are looking forward to it as much as I or Yvette are looking forward to it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, bye.